What's up, Sky?
Well, my science quiz got bumped to next week. Oh, yeah. So I'm treating myself to some bubble tea after school.
Well, I'm a little less bubbly than you. My tests are still happening, and I have to watch my sister after school. No bubble tea for me.
And some more good news. A text from Grammy. Oh, Grammy.
What's going on with Grammy?
Hi, Skylar. It's your grandma. I just got a new phone, and it seems like I can't access any of my things. Can you help me reset my passwords?
Aw, I love that you help your Grammy with her tech issues.
I love to help when I can, but this message seems a little weird. I don't usually call her grandma, and I haven't heard anything about her getting a new phone. The text also came from an unknown number, and this link seems weird. It's got all these symbols and numbers and stuff.
That sounds super sketchy.
Yeah, let me text her old number to check on her. Hi, Grammy. Did you just send me a text asking for me to help reset your password? Hi, Lovebug. No, I didn't send a message about that. Are you still coming over Friday for dinner? I'm making your favorites. Yep, we were right. That other text must be spam. I'm not clicking on that link.
Good call on asking your Grammy directly, and for being so savvy. Very impressive sleuthing. Hold up. Look at this. I just won new Court Vibe sneakers. Yes! They're not supposed to drop for another 2 months. Whoa. I just gotta click this link, fill out this form, give them my deets, then boom.
Stop! I know you're really into these shoes, but you want to be careful before you go share all your information online. This could be a scam too. Look, it's asking for a lot of information. This whole form is shady. They are phishing and you almost took the bait. Also, weren't you here a second ago when we went through that fake text from my grandma?
Wait, but how do you know it's a scam? I guess this fish needs a little schooling. How can we stay safe and protect our personal information when we're online? Not everyone would know this isn't legit.
First things first, you have to be aware, alert, and vigilant. You've got to think about what you're sharing and who you're sharing it with.
So, not sharing stuff with strangers, obviously.
Well, kinda. Sometimes people you think you actually know might not have the best intentions. Here, check this out.
If the person is a total stranger to you, they may have an alternative motive trying to get other information out of you.
They might be pretending to be somebody that they're not. They might be using you for something.
Like, please don't tell people online your full name or where you live.
You don't actually know who they really are, and you need to be sure that they're okay.
I think a lot of people assume that because you have a friend online and they're kind of not always in your day-to-day and you can choose and edit what
video seemed to stop.
Yeah, but it like asks
You
some
know how
questions and then Summer just continues to the end.
Okay. Okay, so we go through. Oh, thank you. All right. Go on to the next video. With that said, though, I will mention one thing that I don't know if we mentioned, just so you guys know. We obviously know that a lot of older adults are very targeted by scams, but the second most targeted group is young people. So it's actually you guys. So when we talk about this, it might seem like maybe it's not as relevant, or we like talk about it, but on top of being on top of it, you have to know that you will be disproportionately targeted by online scammers compared to people who are in their middle ages, you and older adults. So something just to be aware of and constantly be vigilant of. But yeah, we'll go back into the videos. Not to scare you, but
teens in the video mentioned that people online can pretend to be someone they're not. I had a bad experience with this not too long ago.
Seriously? What happened?
So, there's this game I like to play online where you collaborate with other people to build all kinds of stuff.
Love those.
One day, one of the players I met in the game, who I thought was my friend, asked me to share my login information so they could help me unlock new items to customize my avatar.
Oh no.
Yep, I shared that private information, and next thing I know, they locked me out. I never got back into my account or got to play with that avatar. I even had to get a new email.
What a pain. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I was so upset this happened. But I definitely learned to be a lot more careful about what I do online and the information I share with others. It was also a really good reminder to have different passwords for different accounts.
And to make sure they're strong passwords too.
Yep. Now when I create a password, I make sure to use a passphrase, like donuts are delicious, instead of passwords. And make sure it's a phrase I can remember. Make it at least 8 characters long. Include a mix of uppercase and lowercase, as well as numbers and symbols.
So, back to the sneaker thing. I actually have no idea who I almost shared my information with. So, I guess that's the first issue. As for what I was gonna share, it looks like they're asking for a lot of things. My date of birth, the school I go to, my home address.
Yeah, all those things seem like red flags to me. But let's take a step back. I think there are other things you can do to confirm if this is a phishing scam.
Yes, please do go on.
Well, the first thing is to know that people can send emails that look legitimate and fish for your information. That's fish with a PH.
Oof.
A lot of times these phishing emails. Another thing to remember, when you can, help your family and friends make safe choices online too.
Like how you're helping me. And your Grammy.
That reminds me, I should actually let Grammy know about what happened. Probably a good idea for her to update her passwords just to be safe.
Well, I think I'm gonna be on the lookout from now on.
That's good. I have some tips that will help you on your journey. You know this already, but make sure your passwords are secure by using passphrases that are at least 8 characters in length and include a combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. Use different passwords to access your accounts, and use a password manager to keep track of them if you need to. Only share private information with the trusted adults in your life.
Oh, and another good one. Together with your parents or an adult, review and set privacy settings on your devices and apps.
Exactly. This goes for the apps you use and the devices themselves. I feel safer around you already.
I do too. But since I'm not getting free sneakers anytime soon, maybe someone could bring me a bubble tea later on?
Of course. Just give me your social security number, all your passwords, and your credit card number.
Ha! There's no phishing allowed here.
Thank you. All right, so we went through that. So let's now reflect. First of all, first thing I want to do is just review some of the vocabulary that was introduced in those videos, so we know to differentiate what we're talking about. So one word that came up a lot was spam. So spam is a word for a suspicious message sent to a large number of people with the intention to sell or advertise something. Now, spam doesn't always automatically indicate a scam. It may be a legitimate advertisement, but it just means it's sent out to a large swath of people, and you happen to be one of them. Now, a scam is just an attempt to trick someone, usually with the intention of stealing money or private information. Private information usually includes things like a social insurance or a social security number, address, and this in turn can be used to steal, your identity, and then again use that to use money. And then lastly, we have, and scams happen obviously online and offline. They're not relegated simply to the online world. And then we have phishing, which is a particular type of social engineering scam. And basically, this is when someone poses as either an institution, maybe a bank, or your school. Sometimes they can also pose as a singular person, someone you know, and sends you a personalized message asking you to provide private information, right? This may look like a bank asking you to reset your password and to confirm your details in order to confirm your identity, or something like that. So we're going to do a little reflection now. So first, I want you to think carefully about these next questions and connect it to your own digital life. So obviously in the video, Skylar looked for clues to decide if the text from her grandmother was real or spam. And she also helped David do the same when he received that free shoe email. So they were both being scammed, or someone was attempting to scam both of them. Have you or someone you know ever had an experience with an online scam? Did they fall for the scam? If so, why? What convinced them it was real? And if not, what clues led them to realize that they were being scammed. So we'll give you a second to think about that. If you have anything off the top of your head, you can raise your hand and say it out loud, or else put it in the chat. Yeah, Jamal, go ahead.
I actually did a how-to guide do one. So but as far as experience wise, I actually get them like every day. Like sometimes I get like, hey, you won this raffle, or there's like cash pending to your account, or maybe like there's some giveaway going on, and like I just like pretty much ignore them, or sometimes it just go into the spam. Mainly because I know for a fact that I have not been to these websites, have not done these things, or I even signed up for this stuff. So I just prefer like, so pretty much I either just send them to the spam, delete them, or just ignore them entirely.
Yeah.
Like, if I try to unsub from them, then that's probably just going to give me more advertisements. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think most emails now have a feature like where you can mark as spam and then also unsubscribe. So it's always best just to go for the built-in mark as spam feature instead of the unsubscribe, especially in some phishing emails. That's also sometimes a scam where they'll have a scam and then they'll build in an unsubscribe button where you have to like put your email and information in order to unsubscribe. And that's also part of the phish. So aware of. Yes, you have your hand up. Sorry, I don't want to try and mess up. How do you pronounce your name?
Jackie.
Oh, it's just Jackie. Okay.
Yeah.
Just fun spelling. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. I think a big one I've seen is on Facebook Marketplace because I sell a lot through there. So I have like people tell me, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this right now. I'll give you this amount of money, but give me your phone number first." And that always makes me suspicious because always like people with zero friends, no picture. I'm like, "Why do you want my number?" And one time I did give them my number, so I started getting like all random texts, like really weird texts. And they always tell you, "Oh, I want it now. Like I want to buy it. I want to buy it. I'm gonna come buy it." So whenever someone is too happy to buy it at the price you set, it just gives me scam vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, scams either usually go in like one way of two, either that someone's like super negative and threatening something bad is going to happen if you don't respond to this email from me right away, or it's too good to be true. This is the best thing ever, right? So the goal is to catch you unsuspectingly and have you act on emotion rather than using, your a rational train of thought. So either get you really excited or really scared. So that's a good point.
I actually experienced the same thing that Jackie experiences. I am in Facebook Marketplace a lot, and
Same,
OfferUp,
yeah.
and I tend to Facebook Marketplace tends to have more scams than OfferUp, so you kind of have to like adapt and see what like who's trying to scam you and who's not. But there's also another scam where like if you're trying to buy an item, they're like, give me a $50 deposit just to make sure that you're trying to buy. And then if you send them the money, they never reply. Um, I've never experienced it, but well, not like got caught by the scam, but there has been situations where they're like, "Oh, give me this deposit, and you're for sure gonna buy it." Like it's a too good to be true deal. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I've had that one sent to me. Always good too with Facebook Marketplace. I find like just even if you don't really necessarily need that, just ask for more details and see if they reply. Like ask for like, oh, can you send me additional photos? Because if they just took the photos, they're not going to have additional photos if they stole them from someone else. So like things like that you can do to double check if you're like on the line towing between is this legit or not. Stuff like that. Asking for more details can help. Jonathan.
Yeah, similarly to the video, actually, my mother had experienced like a text message like scam, like she got received a message. And the thing that was interesting was the reason why she kind of fell for it at first was the area code was the same as my area code, and the first like the middle digits were actually the same as mine. So like when she first looked at the message, it looked like I sent her a message, even though I should be in her contacts, but that's besides the point. And yeah, she got an email like saying like, hey, I need help with something, like click on this link, and she almost clicked on it until I told her like, hey, I didn't message you that. So it was like very similar to the video that we just watched, and I was like, wow, yeah, I have had that experience as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like we know like that scam, that sort of scam is like really common like on the other side, grandparents getting it about grandkids, and obviously it's a scam running the opposite direction now. So always new things to look out for, things that we might not be aware of. That's why it's important to always know like those key signs of a scam, because we may hear stories about types of scams, right? A grandparent scam, a package scam. But if we're not up to date on what the latest narrative that they're spinning is, we may not be aware that that's like the type of scam that's going on. So we need to be aware of like the underlying, basically, you know, themes or ways that a scam operates. Victor.
Yeah, for scam, I've never fallen for a scam. The main reason was because I always look for the clues. Like for example, for emails, I always check if the email address is always the verified ones, not those random names and letters ones. And I usually get a lot of phone call ones, which they always most of them do voicemail one, which is like the weirdest ones I always get. I'm like, and I always like instantly block those numbers. And I usually don't pick up numbers that I don't know anyway. So
No, totally. And I think, yeah, I think phone and text and those kinds of scams are getting so much more common because we're all on like iPhones and Androids and they can send the links right from there. And again, I think often we're less thinking and aware on our phones. Like we use them in a much more casual way than our computers. And so again, an easy way to catch someone off guard. Any other thoughts? Right. Okay, cool. All right, so next in our reflection, looking back on the video, why was it risky for David to respond to the sneaker email based on what we learned about what was being asked of him? What were the risks that he might have gotten himself into with that? Hey, Jonathan.
Yeah, the major thing was the fact that it was asking for like his social security number, which is like kind of insane. Like like all like that's like it's mainly been like for a lot of people who get into like tech, it's like mainly been like, yeah, you shouldn't be giving your personal information out there to random websites. So yeah, like once I saw that he was like it was asking for his social security, it's like, yeah, that seems like that's like way too crazy. It's pretty much your information might get stolen. Like with that situation, it's a really scary situation, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because with that, they can steal your identity, open up accounts in your name, uh, credit cards, and all of that. So very frightening. Anything else?
Cassidy,
And even
what
yeah, go
was
ahead.
the question again? What was the
What
question
were the
again?
risks? Sorry, why was it risky for David to respond to the sneaker email? So Jonathan just brought up the social security number in particular was risky, but
Um,
are there other reasons it was risky?
yeah, I haven't like links. I never click on links, like rarely. Like I have to make sure it's like fully verified for me to click on that link, because through that link they're able to grab so much information through that link. And even worse, if you download something, I never tend to download anything from the internet or from an email that gets sent to me, because that's for sure a virus.
Yeah.
Or I'm skeptical if it is a virus. And if it is a virus, you could get all your information stolen, or they might put a Trojan on your computer or something like that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even just clicking in that link is a risk because you don't know where that's going to
mhm.
lead. And even, we may have a really good browser or antivirus that like blocks those things once we click on it, which is great. But even then, any sort of interaction with some sort of scam or phishing email puts us at greater risk in the future, because the second that we interact with that, even if we don't provide the information or even if we don't download a virus, that lets the scammers know that we're someone who's willing to interact. And then we may get more inundated with scam emails because they view us now as a potential easier target. So, you know, any sort of interaction, even if it's to reply to, tell them to screw off, whatever, like any sort of interaction signals to them, oh, this person's willing to engage. And that's also a risk in itself. And oh, Lauren just put something in the chat. A link is a website to paste a link before you open it to check likelihood that someone's just like, great, thank you, Lauren. I had not heard of that. I will be using that. Thank you. All right. Moving on. We mentioned in the video too, but what are ways that you can protect your information and yourself when you go online? Can be stuff that was in the video or anything else that you tend to do to protect yourself online and your information.
I'll do research on it. Maybe like if I'll see where's the number coming from. I'll check online, like maybe like white pages. That's a website where you're able to put the phone number and oh, I don't know why and through that phone number, um, you're able to um you're you're able to look up the information like where the phone number is located, the provider of the phone number and stuff like that. Or if, for example, if they're saying, oh, your mom needs some money or something like that, I will verify first and text my mom and see if this information is actually true. Or yeah, typically that's mostly what I do. I know it's getting crazier because of AI technology and deep fakes and stuff like that. So you for sure have to verify, to be honest, anything nowadays.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Doing research, just giving something a quick Google, and like even if it's something you can just Google the basic scenario and scam, and see anything or sort of research this under anything you can. Yeah, someone said in the chat, installing security software for sure. But always being aware of the security software that you're downloading, because sometimes those are viruses themselves. What else? Yeah, Jonathan?
Like it's I was trying to think because it's kind of similar to just like the umbrella term of do research, but like yeah, just become aware of all of these like scams that are around. I feel like the more people that are aware that like is a thing, especially towards like the older generation, because maybe they might receive a phone call, they're thinking, oh, maybe this is like my grandson or something. But like just the fact that like people need to like maybe like really, yeah, like it's good to like think, like just do research on this and understand that these scams do exist. So I feel like that could just deter a lot of people from like falling into these scams or like answering a random phone call or texting back at a random number that you don't know who that is. Yeah, just do it. I guess
Yeah.
like yeah, again, just like do research on these scams. Yeah.
Yeah, but and also just I think in that same vein is like to understand like generally what's like a kind of brief understanding what's going on in the world, because also another thing we see a lot with scams is scams surrounding events, right? If there's a natural disaster or an upcoming election, right? We're going to see a lot of scams connected to those events or those things, and if we're just not aware that like it's happening, we may be caught off guard. So being aware of those things. But yeah, you can use a VPN, especially if you're using a public not Wi-Fi network. If you have to use one, using one all the time adds extra safety. But for at the bus station, at the airport, or whatever public library, we're using that public Wi-Fi network. Definitely using a VPN to keep ourselves safer, or using a VPN if we might be connecting to any unsecure sites. Just because a site is unsecured doesn't necessarily mean that it's a malicious website, right? Not every small personal blog has there's the full security protocol. It costs money to do. So sometimes we'll see websites that aren't secure, but they're not necessarily malicious. And if we have to use those websites, just making sure that we use a VPN when we do so. Yeah, don't trust any links, even if it's your friends. Always double check. What else?
Don't download any files. I'll say sent files.
Yeah, be aware of any sort of suspicious attachments. Even also being aware when we're downloading any sort of like program. Obviously, on our phones, we use the app stores primarily, so we're less risk of that. But on our computer, we may have a tendency more to download off of websites versus downloading off of some sort of built-in app store. Because sometimes, I don't know, I have a Mac. the Apple App Store doesn't have every program I need. So just being aware that we're downloading from the correct places. Yeah, someone said block emails. And numbers. Unknown.
I also think like periodically checking your security and privacy settings for your different social media accounts, because even if when you initially stand it up, you check through all the settings, they release new features and all that all the time. So what you set a year ago might have a default open for some information you don't want to share with the general public that is currently being shared. So I've seen this with like LinkedIn and Facebook and, Instagram, all these things, like they just release new features and enable by default. So just go in and check every now and then.
Absolutely. That's a really, really good point. I recently checked my Facebook settings because I was showing someone something and I realized that certain things had been turned on. So that's a really great point. Jonathan.
And another one that like it reminded me because when you mentioned social media, like change your passwords and stuff, use strong passwords. It's like a really it sounds like so simple. We went through every single one but that one, but yeah, like change your passwords and like how the video said, you could use a password manager as well. I mean, to some people that may be like scary because you're like using another application. So what I use, which is old school, I use a notebook. You can't even see it because of the camera, but yeah, just using like a notebook or something for a password manager or just anything. Yeah, I really like using a notebook though because you're like, I mean, I just keep it in my room. No one's ever gonna steal it. No one's gonna get my master password like with the online master passwords and stuff. So yeah, just using a password manager, having different passwords and like as different emails as well if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And using those protected Swift emails that like certain like I know Apple provides now. When it comes to passwords too, and this is something that is maybe not as relevant to you, but I always say this to like the older adults we teach is when you're thinking about creating strong passwords and differentiating passwords, if memorizing or knowing or storing them is a concern to you, really make your primary focus accounts that are would be the most vulnerable if accessed, right? So we really want to prioritize setting really strong and different passwords on things like online banking, social media, and our email, because our email is a gateway to all of our other accounts. Things that if someone got that account, it would be really bad. But if someone got access to say like my Pinterest account, probably wouldn't be the end of the world. It would be annoying, but like I don't really have any info on there, just like some, decor, I guess, and recipes, but other things, right? So making sure we do that if that's a concern. Best practice is to make everything strong and differentiated, but if that's somehow an issue or difficult, making sure that we're at least, minimizing our risk in any way possible. Anyone else? And I'll add one too, is just being really aware of what we're posting online. I know this is not necessarily maybe an issue on places like Instagram or Facebook, where we can also set really strong privacy settings. Like I guess on TikTok you can too, but things that may seem really innocent or innocuous that we don't really think are risky can become them, right? If you set up, say, your school account or your bank account, sometimes they ask those, security questions. Sometimes they're really simple. Who's your best friend? What middle school did you go to? Who's your favorite author? Right? And those questions are something that we might, somehow reveal on our social media profiles, right? And so just being aware, again, that doesn't mean that we can't share online or that we should, completely be aloof online in every way, but it just means being a bit extra conscious and cautious of what we're sharing, especially in photos. I mean, I'm sure you've seen some like those like creepy, like I'll find you on like TikTok, like a guy who like takes pictures of people's and finds out exactly where they are. It's not that hard. So just being aware of that and assessing our own comfort level and our own risk level as we go. Jamal.
Something I just remembered when you mentioned pictures, you can also get hacked through a picture if you click on one as well. Because like sometimes they might send like a picture that you might actually have to click to zoom in on what it says. But when you do that, it's actually you actually get connected to them. Because I actually had that happen once.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened, but yeah, it happened once.
Yeah, no, they can spoof any sort of file ending. So again, you might think you're clicking on or just downloading a regular picture, and it's actually it's a link to something dangerous, and you just didn't know. So that's a really really good point. So just being, especially if something seems sketchy, being aware of where you're clicking, and not to click on anything that you don't, even if it seems innocent. Jackie says, I use dual authentication because I'm bad at remembering passwords, so this helps. Yes, so any sort of two-factor authentication uh, that we can set up is 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 great as well, and saves us having to, maybe again, we should always be conscious, but again, assessing our risk and doing things to add added protection on there. Oh, someone made the text size smaller. All right. Okay. Any last ones on that point?
To your point about the social media, I think people also should be cognizant of posting like they're on vacation, essentially saying, "Hey, my house is vacant right now." And so I've heard the tip like share your vacation photos when you return, not while you're away from home.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Also, when you're on vacation, enjoy it and be present and share after. But yeah, that's a really good point as well. I actually didn't think about that. Um, who is changing that? Okay. Anyway, any others? I can think of any. Oh, another thing is just if you can and if you have, any sort of like bank account or online banking, is just to check it regularly. Especially not just if you think, oh, I just got this sketchy email, I clicked on everything. Just check it regularly as just a force of habit. Doing that can mean you're on top of things, and usually banks should obviously be able to catch some suspicious behavior, but where they can't, when they miss it, you just want to be on top of it before something becomes too late. And that being said, if you're doing anything online where you are sharing some sort of financial information, if you do have access to a credit card, always use a credit card over a debit card. I know some people may not have one, but if you can, use a credit card because you'll have more protections on a credit card than on a bank card, where once the money's gone out of your account, it's gone. On a credit card, that will be more easily retrievable or just canceled. All right. I think that is all for today. Obviously, we focused really heavily on scams today. We do know that there are other threats that come with online safety in regards to things like AI and a lot of these scams getting more sophisticated. So as we said, really important to keep up to date on what's current, but always remembering those sort of key signs to look for when it comes to scams: suspicious or unknown contactors, urgent language, or else too good to be true sort of scenarios, and stuff like that, to be aware of, because those kind of underpin a lot of the scams we'll see online, and making sure that we keep our information as private as possible when we're online. All right, any last comments or questions before I release you? Well, thank you everyone for participating today. A lot of great feedback and conversation. So really, really happy about that.